Hello again on a massive week for Bolton Wanderers. It's playoff final time. On Sunday, Stockport County, 90 minutes away from the championship. And if you're sick of the sight of me, well, I'm going to bring you in a bit of variety. We're going to bring in some extra manpower to the stage in random order. There we go. Will, Wayne, and Tom. We're back again. The four Musketeers. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but anyway, we're here to talk about the big day. Wanderers. I mean, dare we dream? Dare we dream?
I
Somebody
think
dream.
so.
I have to.
Yeah.
Will, I'm going to pick on you straight away, mate. How confident are you?
I feel quite calm. I do feel quite calm.
You've been talking to Stephen Schumacher.
Must have been. I've took loads of confidence over the last couple of games. And I feel really calm about it. I do. Obviously, I feel a little bit different on Sunday. All the build-up and who's going to play, who's not, what the weather's going to be like, who's going to be the concerns and all the stuff that probably we're going to talk about tonight. But yeah, I feel relatively calm, quite confident. Loved Thursday last week. I thought they were brilliant. I thought they were really, really good. Bradford had maybe 10 or 15 minutes tops. Rode our luck a little bit. But apart from that, yeah, 2 clean sheets. Couple of areas of concern that weren't really concerning too much really throughout the game. So yeah, feeling good, feeling positive. But I'll probably say some negative stuff as well tonight, so I'll probably counteract myself. But yeah, I genuinely feel okay about it. I do. I think we needed those couple of performances that have brought out the best in, especially of 2 or 3 players. And long may that continue. I have some confidence going into the week. Yeah, I think the calmness is important. I see it on the pitch as well. I see it off the pitch with the management team. I like them having a little bit of a moment on Thursday with a bit of celebratory stuff. And then it was a bit of a, for me, business is still to be done here. Let's get back in the changing room. We have a couple of days. We chill out, get our heads together, and then we go again on the training camp. And let's plan for this week and the week ahead. Absolutely. So yeah, feeling good, feeling positive, and happy to chat about it tonight. Looking forward to talking about it.
It's got interrupted by a text from Mark Beavers of all people. There we go. That was a nice bit of time.
Is he fit? Anyway. Is he fit?
Is he fit? I was just thinking that would be a cracking addition. Right. I mean, we may as well get this over and done with. There's someone on this call who made a bold suggestion in last week's team talk, who suggested that Jack Bonham would rise to the occasion, would somehow become the hero and ram all our words back down our throats. Wayne, go on. Tell him you were right.
Well, I don't like to be that guy who says I told you so, but I did send Mark an email that night saying I told you so.
You did. In fairness. Yeah. Well, look, it's good when you celebrate the victories, but you don't get too high with the highs or low with the lows, as the footballers always say.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just thought, the story writing gods, that was the way to go. Yep. He'd had a bad run. We'd given him criticism, but that clean sheet, I just felt as though that was just something he could use as a springboard to have a game that was really meaningful, really impactful to help us get what we needed to get at the game. And yeah, he did great. He might even do it again.
Look, I think you're right. I think double clean sheet. It was perfectly timed, and there's a few plays in that boat. I think Jono can definitely be included in that boat as well. Confidence boosting at the right time as well. Chris Farino has had 2 fantastic games. Yes, we'll get on to talk about Toal in a second, but I just think there's room for optimism now, isn't there? For once, we can actually describe this glass as being half full.
We're going up. And that's it. I won't say anything else.
He said it.
I am very optimistic. I actually agree with Wayne and Will that I actually think that game, those 2 games they weren't the best. I said last week, you asked me for one word, and I said consistency. And what I seen in that team was a solid team. That we weren't unbelievable. We weren't terrible. They just, as people have already pointed out, they knew the jobs. They'd done them down to a T. We weren't prolific in front of goal, but when you've got players like, them absolute goal scoring machines like Xavier Simons. Who cares? Do you know what I mean? But no, I thought that we played unbelievable well. Wayne, congratulations. You did tell us
Top
so.
man. Well done, Wayne.
And he was unbelievable. But I will also say that I have actually been a bit of a advocate for the Jack Bonham team since we have started this this podcast, and
Whatever
I actually
it is.
do, whatever this YouTube thing. But I actually do think that Bonham played unbelievable, and I think, like you just said, Mark, the defense was brilliant. I thought Farino in the last 2 games, he looks different level. He actually looks like a championship player. He really had the attack of Bradford in his back pocket. I thought he was unbelievable. Johnston as well, after all of us probably maybe doubted if he was playing or in the right form. There's no doubt that he's a good player, but was he there at the moment? And I would say he's basically told us to shut up with his performances, and he's just cracked on. But even when he moved into as a left centre half, when Toal come off, and I think the swap with Farino and Conway come on, I thought Conway looked very, very good. I thought Conway looked very, very good. He looked strong, and he looked like he just fit into the game. So, yeah, I'm with you two lads. I'm very, very confident in the side. I think that enough rubbish now, just get the job done is the attitude that they're probably going for. And that's the way it's coming across. They don't seem too lively. Obviously, they were after the result, but it seems to have all quieted down. It's very calm. I get a calm feeling like you will then.
Yeah, like I class it as a professional environment.
Yeah, and I think that's how we are going to perform at Wembley. A calm, know your job style. And that's me.
Is that a deliberate thing then, Will? I mean, just talking off air there, that potentially your past experiences at Wembley will mould the way you go into this one. Wanderers have kept everything very low key this week so far. They've put off media duties until the very end of the week, just before they travel. There hasn't been any statements, no tub thumping particularly. They've let the ticket office get on with their work. Do you think that is radiating down from the kind of the way that Stephen Schumacher has gone about things in this playoff campaign so far?
Yeah, I think it's just a continuation of who he is as a person and how how he wants his group to be, isn't it? For me, I like it. I like that calmness. I've said a couple of weeks ago when we did this show, I didn't like the whole circus around the Barnsley a couple of years ago against at home. Obviously, it led us to Oxford. I didn't like that. And I just feel we've got a nice environment here that's got a steady leader at the top. And I think it's what they need. Let's not get too carried away. Let's not get too heavy in the press. Let's not say we're this, we're that, the other. And I just get the impression it's just another game to him. Every press conference that he does, he's nice and calm. He's clear in his thoughts. He's also picking up on some areas that he found as though it could be an improvement for that second leg. And that's good. And that, to me, it comes across as someone who's not getting caught up in the moment. And I firmly believe in these situations, playoff, semi-final, first leg, second leg, going into a final, you need someone who's leading the show to be nice and calm, because that just radiates down. So if you've got someone flapping, if you've got someone in the dressing room who's getting a little bit ahead of themselves, it's nice to have that steady pair of hands that is controlling the environment and letting dare I say, take the pressure off the players. Keep them out of it. Let them do their job. Let them continue doing what they're doing. Take the pressure away from. Let him do his press conference. Let another player do a press conference. And a couple of weeks ago, I did bang the drum a little bit about getting everybody on board for that first leg. But I think now we're settled into an environment, I think, where it's all structured. Everyone knows their job. The club have been really important, getting everyone to wear white and all that kind of stuff. And that's, again, distancing it from the players. And I think that's massively important. We've got a good leader, someone who's keeping it nice and calm. Let the lads do their job. And hopefully, like I said a couple of minutes ago, that professional approach will get us over the line. We have got some challenges. It is going to be a difficult game. There's some players that we need to be concerned about. And obviously we'll talk about that tonight, I'm sure. But for me, I'm quite happy with it. Keep it nice, keep it calm, keep it quiet, get on with your job and finish it. Like Tom mentioned, let's do it now. Now's the time for me. Obviously, we've had a couple of opportunities, a couple of semi-finals, got to a final, and I'm also looking at next year as well with this. I think now's the most important time to get up. We're going to have Luton are going to do well next year. Plymouth will do well. You've then got a big club in Sheffield Wednesday. I know they've had their issues, but they're going to be a big club. They're going to be attractive to players to go to. Leicester are going to be there. So you've probably got 3 or 4, whereas I think now Huddersfield, absolutely, Tom. Yeah, and you always get a random, like a Lincoln or whatever. And I think for me now, it's massively important that we get over the line, and like I say, nice calm leader. I think that's going to help the environment.
Well,
definitely.
I mean, you can also evolve over the course of the season. And Wayne, I think you pointed something out to us in the chat about how Bolton Wanderers have evolved since that first day of the season. Now I've got a little graphic to show you here. There we go. That is the team on the opening day of the season that lost 2-0 at Edgeley Park against Stockport. And it's fair to say it's moved on a little bit. There are a few there that feels like a million years ago since we were talking about Carlos Mendes Gomez in the Bolton first team. So how far have they come, in your opinion?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? Short question. You can answer it.
I think we've come a long way. Let's just compare those positions to who we've got now. Sharman, Lowe, and Bonham. I think we'd rather have Bonham in goal, right?
Yeah.
I think Stephen Schumacher would.
Right. Decres Cogley, even though we'll see him at the weekend. Ossie Tutu. I prefer Ossie Tutu. Yeah.
And he was very good as well on Thursday night against Bradford. I thought it was one of his better games this season.
Excellent.
He was. He did awesome. Midfield pairing of Marley and Simmons. But this time we've got Sheehan and Rodriguez. No, Sheehan and Errejón, excuse me.
Errejón, yeah.
I prefer the midfield pairing that we had of Bradford. I don't know about you two.
I think Sams has got a shot, hasn't he? He's got a shot because, I mean, I don't think he's done a great deal wrong. I think if he's fully fit, Errejón for me, but you guys may differ in your opinion.
Oh, it's good. Errejón's got to be playing in midfield for me. I mean, look at the difference since he's come back. It's obvious. 2 clean sheets, screening the defence. He's got to be. He's one of the first names on the team sheet for me. He's helping us get these clean sheets.
And Rodriguez seems to have settled that 10 debate. So that's another one that's never really resolved itself most of the season.
Yeah, that's true. I do like Rodriguez playing there, and of course, I like him being in this team going into the playoff final because he has done it, you know, and he's won it as well with Oxford. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. Mendes Gomez shouldn't laugh, but I do prefer either Sissoko or Gale there.
Definitely.
And Burstow. Yeah, well, so he started and he's also, he may be starting this weekend. We don't know. I guess we'll talk about that after.
Yeah. And how far do you reckon, Tom, they've come since that opening? Because let's not forget, I mean, you know, it does feel a long time ago, but I looked through some of the highlights the other day and Bolton should have been well ahead in that game. They dominated the first half, got a really lucky first goal, Stockport. Second half was a bit scrappy in fairness, but and Stockport deserved probably to be ahead in that top 45, but Bolton were not far away.
Definitely, Mark. I mean, I went to that game and we were wearing our lovely pink kit. I don't mind it. I'm happy we're not wearing it this Sunday because, as the club has said, let's get a sea of white. But I went to that game, and that first half, I thought we were excellent. If I'm correct, Burstow got dragged down in the box. Do you remember it? Should have had a penalty. That will not be an issue at Wembley. Is that confirmed VAR?
It was last year, so I can only assume they're going to do it this year. But can you confirm anything with VAR? Is anything really that straightforward?
No, but I think that was obvious, an obvious error, clear and obvious error. But no, from the first day of the season, you know, I think this squad's come on massively. The players that we brought in January, as I said about 10 minutes ago, Jack Bonham for me, if we'd have had him at the beginning of the season and he'd have had a full pre-season with the club, I honestly believe that we would have maybe had 10 more points towards the end of the season than we did, because if you look back to Blackpool away and that mistake off Sharman Law, and there was a couple of incidents like that, was there space for a man that has been there and done it? You have to say, yeah, there was. You know, we needed an experienced goalkeeper. I really do think that. As for Carlos Mendes Gomez, unfortunately, his career at Bolton never took off. I think that is down to injuries, but it's also hindered him at Exeter this season. Probably hasn't played as many games he would like. I think if he isn't out of contract this summer, I think we will be not seeing him in a Wanderers shirt again anyway. As for Burstow, Wayne, yes, he started the last 2 games. However, if Dolby is fit, I do strongly believe we have to start him at Wembley. He is our player of the season. He's our leading goal scorer. And I also think that he's someone that people look up to. I really do. And when you've got a team that...
Because he's so tall.
Yeah. Yeah. Sheehan's, it's only Sheehan that I'm on about.
Yes.
But no, I think that, you know, when you've got younger players in the squad, like Max Conway, I know that Sam Dolby's not, you know, a massive promotion man, but he always seems very composed and calm. If you noticed when Simon scored, actually, on the video, he was the only one that didn't run over and celebrate straight away. He went and high-fived, I believe it was McAtee, and sort of went like that, like it's not over yet. Do you know what I mean? So, no, I think the squad's come on leaps and bounds. I mean, you know, if you'd have told me at Stockport that our best player would have been Sam Dolby, with him being out for, I think it was 3.5 months from then, I would have said not a chance. So it's a different squad. It's a totally different squad.
But there's another point I think we should be talking about. Even the players who are in that starting lineup, they've progressed. You know, like Farino is playing the best football he's ever played. You know, Kozia Dubra, he's a better player now than he was at the start of the season, right at the start. I think he's got like a good season's experience. He's developed. And one other thing, what we're not talking about, Stephen Schumacher. Now, I looked at the losses that we had in the first half of the season, and no one's done a double on us this season, have they?
No.
And I don't think we've given Schumacher enough credit about that. I think he goes back and works on a way on trying to find out a way of how to get a result against when we play them in the returning fixture. I think we lost to Northampton and Wickham in the first half of the season.
Burton
and then
as well would have been there.
Burton, yeah. We in the return fixture with Burton, we beat them. Return fixture with Wickham, we beat them, and we drew with Northampton, I think.
Yeah, we did.
The draw.
No.
Yeah. So I think that needs to be acknowledged as well. Schumacher is good at figuring out, well, okay, so how do we beat them next time? We lost to Stockport at the start of the season. We had the draw as well. Is it time for the win to come?
Will, are we not giving Schumacher enough credit? I think he's due some credit, really. But the problem in my eyes, and I can see it, is that if the wrong result comes on Sunday, it will be hellfire and brimstone, because that will be the reaction. It'll be another year in League One for Bolton Wanderers, bottom line. And there is still some residual disappointment, theoretically. They're not in the top 2. Mm-hmm. That will come down, tenfold, won't it, if the things aren't right on Sunday? That's the way it is. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah, I think the expectations with Bolton Wanderers fans is high, isn't it? It's a huge ceiling. I think it's down to the performance as well, Mark. A couple of years ago when we played Oxford, we were expected to win, weren't we? Of course, these things don't happen like that. Football's a funny old game. But I think if the performance is there and it's just purely down to a bit of bad luck, then are we being a little bit
Yeah.
too critical? Yeah, they have to show up. It's massively important. They have to show up because the reaction will be absolutely horrific if it's twice in a row at Wembley, and rightly so. I think he's had a reasonably okay season, okay to good for me. It's been a season of what if for me throughout this year. I think we've had a little bit of unlucky periods with injury. We've lacked a little bit of a structure and a backbone. Goalkeeper, obviously, we've talked about a bit of inconsistency around centre back, and then someone who can put the ball in the back of the net consistently, not spells, consistently. So I do think he gets a little bit of stick sometimes, and I'm not one who jumps on the bandwagon. Oh, Schumacher out, Schumacher this, Schumacher. He should have done this better. He's got his A-lines, he's got his pro license, he's got the capability to manage teams because he's proven that. But I think he's at a club where the expectations are absolutely so high that sometimes he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't in this role. But I think the last couple of games has made people realise that he's a really good tactician. And he's got 2 results where probably let's be fair. We didn't expect to keep a clean sheet over 2 playoff legs, especially with the first one being at home and the second one being away. I don't think any of us in
Wayne
here
did.
apart from Wayne here,
Mystic Wayne, yeah.
Mystic Wayne. I don't believe that we that we did, like I say, other than Wayne, but a lot of us, I don't know whether you fall into that, Tom. I didn't think we were going to keep 2 clean sheets. I really didn't. And I think a lot of the fan base and the people that I speak to or go the game with, like, no way, we're not going to concede over 2 games. I also liked as well a little bit of naughty tactics. The first 10 minutes of that game against Bradford, just literally just had the ball and put it out. Yeah. How many throw-ins? That was just pure kill the game. Get an understanding, get a feel of the environment, quieten the crowd, and I thought
on your clearances.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't give him anything. If the ball's up there, you can't do anything with it. So for me, I think he's done an okay job. I think the expectation, like I say, is difficult for him within the role, and financially, again, he's been a little bit restricted. Dare I say? He never had a considerable amount of money that he could spend, and he's had to pick up the remnants of that squad. He's had to completely change a lot of the way that certain players play. There's certain players that have never played for the club that have come in, and he's created this formation, he's created this squad, this nucleus. It's very, very difficult to put a squad together from somebody else's that they've had maybe for 3 or 4 years. Obviously, there's been the rotation of players and such in the natural flow of players coming in and out. But for me, he's brought so many different types of players in and had bad luck with certain injuries to key players as well. So for me, I think he's done an okay job. I really do. But however, I do think if Sunday goes badly wrong for him, I think there'll be a huge percentage of fans that will be really unhappy and want more.
And the thing is, actually, I will say that's the same for Stockport, because Stockport's fan base have not been universally behind Dave Challoner all season. They've had their low points and there's been moans and groans. And that's been the case, even given all his fantastic track record. He's done such a good job with Stockport and generally as a manager since he came in. But I speaking to people over there, I think it's probably the same thing. I think they also feel it's been a so-so to satisfactory season, and that a bad result on Sunday may just get the groaners out. But that's football, isn't it? What's made them difficult to beat, Tom? What's made them difficult to beat Stockport this season? I mean, I think Henry on the podcast calls them the new Wigan. Is that fair?
I don't agree with that. I just think that
good.
What they are is a little bit like the Bradfords and the Wrexhams. Once they come up and then they go up again, there's this belief in the side, that we're sort of indestructible sort of thing. That when I watched Stockport the other day, the first game I thought was a very dreadful game, by the way, by Stockport and Stevenage, down at Stevenage. Jesus, that was
summed up by the goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a ball fest. However, I do think that Stockport, like us in the last 2 games, even though they've had issues with defence over the last 10 games, they are, again, a team. They do seem to play for each other. And one thing that they have, which is a weapon, is Norwood in midfield. I just think he pulls the strings and he pulls the team together. It's that experience that everyone always talks about. And you could have. It's the same a little bit with Bradford. You know, they've got Max Power. He's been there. He's done it. He was, even though I don't think they were very good. I do think that he was sort of the standout player. You knew when he was on the ball, there was a command and presence about him on that football pitch. And I think then the other players raised their levels as well. So potentially, maybe that's where they are with Stockport. I also think that he's a great manager. Is it 16 years, 16 promotion finishes?
He's done a fantastic job. I know all the way back to non-league, filed and managing in Wales and such like. I mean, I don't think
he's ever finished outside the playoffs.
Yeah.
That is just absolutely insane. As for Schumacher, Will, I agree with what you're saying. I just hope to God that he isn't as laid back as he was when we played them down at Wembley, because he himself admitted that he got it wrong on the day. No. So let's just hope he's a bit more up for it then. Calm and composed is fine now, but let's hope he's learned from that, like, you know, we've all said. And then, you know, Stockport, who knows? I mean, they do seem to be a bloody bogey team, don't they, at the moment? But is that just when people say we've not beat them in 37 years at home? Or, you know, how many times have we actually played them over that period?
Not many.
You know? No, exactly.
Not many. But County have only won once in seven visits to Wembley. You know, County lost at Wembley this season. Their record at Wembley is dreadful. And when you speak to County fans, one of the problems they have with these big games is that, you know, something always happens. They've going back to the kind of early 90s, Danny Bergara, you know, a team that was you know, fantastic. He was going up the divisions, never quite managed to get over that step, really, because on the big occasion they struggled. So, but here you go, Wayne. Does Wembley record matter? And we've just been talking there about Shuey and his last experience was obviously Plymouth and coaching there. Does he change things around? Does Josh Sheehan, does George Johnson, Eoin Toal, Kyle Dempsey, do they walk into Wembley and have bad karma, bad memories?
I don't think so. I don't think records matter. I mean, talking about, first of all, the record of how we've not won against Stockport for a long time, I don't think that matters, especially with the game being at Wembley. Okay. I just see this as two really good teams meeting on neutral territory, and you know, we're going to see a football match. I really don't think records matter. Is Sheehan and Carl Dempsey going to get flashbacks? The bad flashback? I don't think so. I don't know.
I will.
You
walking up those steps.
Yeah.
Depends how many you've had in the Green Man before, I'd imagine.
It's like I think it was Will who was saying before. There's this calm amongst the team. They seem quite grounded. I don't know if you've picked up on that, Mark, whilst interviewing them, but I'm just getting this vibe that they're really grounded. I mean, we keep on talking about the celebrations after getting through the semi-final with Barnsley, which, by the way, did we not actually lose that match? But we won an aggregate.
We did.
Lost 3-2 on the day, yeah.
I mean, come on. We lost the actual match, you know. I don't know how you can be like...
Don't get me going again, Wayne.
Okay, we won't talk about it.
I can't deal with that again.
So, yeah, I think players like Carl Dempsey has learned from that, you know. Well, not learned from it. I'm saying he's maybe learned to keep his feet on the ground, literally.
Yeah.
And, I'm not concerned about that.
It shouldn't have any bearing, really. It's probably for us types, you know, for us media types to stir that sort of pot and to make stories out, and probably for the fans, because football is 50% actuality and 50% stories, and you know, it's all about the stories of the terraces. That's half the fun of it, really.
Narrative pressure.
Exactly. They were the words I was grasping for, but never mind.
Yeah.
I think that Cyrus Christie actually will be an amazing person to have.
Good shout. Yeah, great. Absolutely.
I think he'll be really, really.
I would have said that about Cameron Jerome, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but I think listening to how Christie's come across quite a few in his interviews, he seems to have. I don't know if any of you've noticed it, but when we've had a poor result or like at Cardiff, and I think away again earlier in the season, he sort of said, like, give the lads a kick up the backside, really, didn't he? I think, and I actually think him in that dressing room, even if he's not in the squad, I think he'll probably be in the squad, maybe on the bench. But I think just him being there, he's another one that will ground them and just say, we have a job to do, lads.
I just think we deal with pressure so well now. Like it always, I don't know, it feels a few times this season when there's been a bit of pressure, like, oh, don't know if we're going to get this win. Like the Wigan game, we were nervous about that, and then we go and win. And
he's led goes to rest, hasn't he? He's led plenty of goes to rest, Stephen Schumacher, since he's been in. Lots of stats that I've been loving trolling out for the last 10, 15 years have come to an end.
I hope he breaks another one this weekend.
That's it. What an ending what would that be? You know, we did it at the weekend as well.
So we've kind of touched on it a couple of times, but obviously the big elephant in the room is whether or not Eoin Toal picked up a season-ending injury, whether he's going to be able to play in the final or not. George Johnson got moved to centre-half. Max Conway came on, played really well at left-back. But you're losing your skipper. Is it a major concern, Will?
I'm going to go off the performance of second half on Thursday. Nothing there gave me any reason of major concern in that second half that we're going to miss him. However, he's still the leader. He's still the captain. He's still played the majority of the season. But again, I talked about it last week. If we've got him, we've got him. If we haven't, we haven't. And we've got the squad to be able to cope with it. I think the only thing that would concern me is if the occasion got a little bit too much early doors for Max Conway. That would be the only thing that would worry me. That young lad who I think is probably now going maybe into his second biggest game. I thought his first was last week. The second half was the biggest game he's probably played in for pressure and where, you know, the importance of it. Would have done in the world of good. It would have concerned me if Toal had got injured in training and then obviously playing again this weekend. Or not playing again this weekend, shall I say, and then Conway having to come straight in then. No, I don't think so. No, I think whoever plays against Farino, plays with Farino, sorry, will have absolutely no choice, but you have to play your top game, otherwise I'll just sort you out, because it just gave that impression, didn't he? Ossie, you're coming with me for the ride. Jono, you're coming as well. Conway, you're coming, and we're going to meet this head on. So from a captain's perspective, I've never seen Toal as a proper leader. Maybe I'm touching a few nerves, I don't know, vocally. I think
he's
Farino,
got better at that personally.
Yeah, potentially.
He's certainly better as he's grown up.
But I think leading across the back line, I think you've got two good lieutenants in Johnson and Farino for that. So my only slight concern would be Conway and his lack of experience in that big game environment and that setting. But I would much rather, if you're asking me what you would want me the back for, it would be obviously Ossie Tutu, Toal, Farino and Johnston. But we've got faith in Conway. But like I said, that 45 minutes, a little bit over last Thursday, will have done him good. And
Stockport, obviously.
And they've got concerns as well, of course.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Wootton's had to play centre half for them. They've had defensive injuries. I mean, they've got pace up front, whether it's Oluwafe or whether it's Sidibe. Yeah, Barry's no slouch either, coming in off the left-hand side. So
great player.
You know, you're gonna have to be on your wits. They're going to be looking to get in behind Bolton. So pace is going to be an important issue. Positioning is also going to be very important on a big pitch. So, do you have concerns, Wayne? Is there a concern there that Toal, who is a very quick player, actually? I know his hamstrings haven't been the best recently, but actually his turn of pace is actually quite good.
Concerns? No. I think they're going to be dangerous on the counter. Stockport. They've got that pace, and Conway's good at getting back, isn't he?
Quick.
Well, I would just say that I probably want Sissoko playing in front of him rather than Gale, because I think Sissoko does a bit better defensively than Gale.
And it's sunny.
And he likes the sun, does he?
Yeah, he said it in an interview.
He plays better in the sun.
Right. Okay. Well, I want a goal as well, please. If you're watching.
That's him saying he likes the sun.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll go down that well with the manager, but it could have been. I have no idea.
Yeah. I got to agree with what Will says. When you asked the question about our leader not being there, we've got Farino and George Johnston.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're just as good when it comes to leadership. That I think they're quite vocal. And they really set the example. I love how they really fight for the ball, and when they go down, they shoot back up, and that is a really important message to send to the rest of the team. They're not soft; they get up and they deal with it. And yeah, so I'm not too worried, but I'm not gonna lie, I won't stop thinking about it until the day.
Absolutely. Well, you're a fan. That's part of the job. I think. I honestly do think having those 2 clean sheets under the belt, Tom, is going to do everybody the world of good. Because especially Jono, I said before, I think he was on here. I talk a lot on YouTube nowadays. I can never understand where I'm going to be actually saying things, but he's a very expressive player. I think when he's feeling it, you can see it, and when he's really in that mood. And he's going in for those 50-50s that he shouldn't win and all that kind of stuff. You can also see it. And I think over the last couple of games, he's been in the zone, hasn't he?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, we have to be honest. That's the best 2 performances from George Johnston. You've probably got to say this season. I really believe that. I think we've touched on it. He's been playing out of position. But at left back, he was brilliant. And when he moved in centre half, he was brilliant again. Toal, for me, is a huge loss for his pace. I do believe that Conway is quick enough to stay on that side. But the only thing that worries me is Farino, I think, is actually really quick, by the way. When he gets going, he's like a steam train.
He's got that Santos pace, hasn't he? That
kind
of like slow build almost.
The only thing I worry about is if a ball goes straight over, is Johnston being quick enough to get back. However, he hasn't let us down. In the last 2 games, he's been unbelievable. Farino's been an absolute unit back there. And then to have young Max Conway, I mean, he's fitter than any of us, that's for sure. And he's probably faster than us all as well. So pace-wise, I think, look, we're going to control the game as Bolton tend to do. I think it's a nice pitch for us to play football. But as was it Wayne, you just said then, we have to watch that counter-attack because I think that they are very quick. So I watched that Sidibe against Stevenage, and he was straight through. I believe they got him back from Scotland, didn't they? So he was up in Scotland.
Bolton got offered him. Bolton had offered him twice, in fact.
Oh, really?
And Bolton have passed on him twice. So interesting times. I'm going to invoke the May 2024 and talk about Oxford United and a manager called Des Buckingham, who on the day made sure that Paris Magoma, who was Bolton's chief attacking threat, was levelled in very, very early in the game. And he also made sure that Bolton's chief creator, probably Josh Sheehan, had no in on the game whatsoever. I think tactically they got him out the game completely, and it totally disrupted Bolton's plans. Ollie Norwood, arguably Stockport's version of Josh Sheehan, although the real version of Josh Sheehan is still on the pitch. He'll still be there on Saturday. And we're talking about Louis Barry there. And is there a question of double insurance, double marking them, making sure that they don't get into the game there, Will?
Yeah, you've always got to keep dangerous players quiet, haven't you? Because they
have, but will they make extra insurance? I mean, this is the whole thing. Do you protect your plan?
One on him. I'd stick one on him. If in all fairness, absolutely. It's that's exactly what Oxford. And I was just.
I was thinking Erhan. That's the man I would have said. Yeah,
absolutely. It's an old saying. Stick one on him, get one in early, and then get it in your head. Absolutely.
If not him, Farino, that would hurt.
Yeah, Farino would do it. Honestly. The size of him, Tom, he's an absolute unit. So
the riot police.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do things a little bit naughty to get through and get a tactical advantage, and dare I say, a psychological advantage over players. So I'm all for it. All right, don't snap him in half and get a red card and put us down at the 10, and we're all on the M6 heading back in an hour, So do things, but be smart about it. But I'm all for winning first battles, absolutely. Look, talking about the Norwood and Sheehan, I look at that as a style versus style, and those two are going to be key for each team.
Definitely.
Massively so. Both good dictators of the play, can control the ball well, control the game well, they dictate the pace, set piece threats, good game management. But a couple of years ago against Oxford, we didn't have Ruben Rodriguez, whereas we have now. So not only have we got the creative side of Sheehan, we've also got Ruben Rodriguez. And how fit is Louis Barry, really?
We'll
he's
find out on a sunny day at Wembley.
And that's it. I was just about to mention that we are going, both teams, we're going to find out. It could be a survival of the fittest, because we're going from playing 9 months in not the greatest of weather, and especially we all know what it's like in Bolton, to 28 degrees. And it's going to be a huge adaptation there in the physical element. So the using of the ball and the creative side is going to play a massive part in this game, I firmly believe, because the pressing and the closing down is going to be dictated by the environment. So for me, Sheehan and Norwood, it's going to be a nice battle. I think they're two very, very lovely players, really lovely players, creative players, like I say, time on the ball, dangerous in and out of play, creating those pockets of space, bringing other players in. But like I say, a couple of years ago, we're not having Ruben Rodriguez. We've got someone who knows how to play on there and looks to bring other players into play. And I'm quite looking forward to seeing how he does on that open pitch and lovely surface as well. So,
Wayne, you were shaking your head before when you said stick one on him.
I don't
let us into your mind.
I'm thinking, don't get a red card.
I draw the line there. I draw the line there. I draw the line there.
To be fair, I think is it Long, the fullback didn't even get booked for the one he put on Paris Montgomery. It was simply a strong tackle, but
that's fine.
That's the ideal, I suppose, isn't it? You don't even get booked.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a point I wanted to make about that. When that happened to Paris Montgomery, it kind of destabilized us. It's like, what do we do? What do we do?
Don't take him off.
I don't think we have that problem this year. If you think about our star is a Mario. If he goes off in the first 15 minutes, it's not the end of the world. You bring on Gale, you switch Sissoko over, and we can still be quite effective. I wouldn't be panicking.
It didn't happen.
I'd rather it wouldn't happen, but I'm saying we don't need to panic like we have in the past. I do think we know we've got a strong subs bench. And I'm sure that, Stephen's got a plan with what to do with certain situations. So I think we're better prepared. We're a bit more solutions based now.
Well, Big Sam says Stephen Schumacher's flexible, and that's a blessing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Tom?
Yeah, I totally agree. To be honest with you, Wayne, I'm with you 100% there. I think, if you go back to that team, if you took Charles out, let's say, and Montgomery, we didn't really have a heck of a lot, did we, really, if we're honest? Now, if you took...
Forgetting that better, but,
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, he's just been released off Plymouth, so... but if you actually look at the squad now, I totally agree with you. You've got Sheehan, playmaker, Rodriguez, playmaker, Dubry, star man. Gale could be a star man on the day. He's a player that would probably thrive in that environment. Sissoko. So there's 5 there, just to name. And then you've got the top goal scorer for the club, Sam Dolby. I didn't even put him in them 5, but he should be in there. So I actually think we're more of a well-equipped squad this time round. I agree with you. I think that I listened to what Sam Allardyce said. He was with Kevin Nolan, and I actually 100% agree with him. Unfortunately, one of Ian Everett's biggest downfalls is you're playing straight.
My way, the highway.
That's it. It's this. That's it. No change, no difference. It was, right, I'll take Charles off and put another striker on. the subs were sub for sub. Whereas sometimes, if you watch Schumacher, he actually changes over, and he's a bit more, as he said, flexible. So it did damage us that, and it almost did suck the life out of the side, I thought, when Magoma got injured. Obviously, we hope that no one gets injured. However, I'm with you, Wayne. I think that we've actually got a good enough squad to be okay. But I also agree with you, Will. Going that 10% harder on a 50-50 wouldn't hurt anyone other than a Stockport player.
Because you can exploit with more than one.
Yeah.
That was take one of their better players out, and I don't mean it in a nasty way. What I'm probably trying to come across in a way is psychologically, it raises the bar for the other players as well.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to get a lot of hate on air from Stockport fans.
I couldn't care less, to be honest.
There's no hate on YouTube.
They can watch all they want. They can, I'm thick-skinned. I don't care.
Just turn your phone off.
Yeah, honestly, I'll bring it on, Tom. I'm quite happy. Silence is golden as well, isn't it? So,
Matt, can you just crop that bit and send it to them all?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. I don't care.
Little quote.
I'm going to bring it with Will's face on and just wave it.
Wembley,
bring it on.
Bring us up on the board. Love it.
Yeah,
so it isn't about going out and intentionally hurting players. I'm not on about that. I'm on about making sure that we go that extra, and you do need that. Yeah, to get through difficult games. You have to do things in different ways. It can't just be tactics against tactics. You've sometimes got to use a little bit of this. Maybe that's my experience.
He's the king of that.
He is.
I remember he'd done one at Wigan. They were running down the wing, and he come right across and just wiped it. And it does as well raise the crowd.
You've got to be smart, though, Tom, and that's where I'm coming from. I'm not going about injuring players and all of that. You don't need to do that. It's about being smart about how you go about getting that intelligence and that emotional advantage over someone who you're competing with in your particular area of the pitch.
We'll have to change this from team talk, how to injure a player without getting booked.
Yeah, exactly.
Team talk. Yeah.
Smartly. It's all about being smart.
Right. Cute. Okay. Before we get ourselves into any further trouble, and also knowing that we need to wrap this up in about 5 minutes, so we're going to have to be succinct in our discussions. But we are going to need some predictions, some big predictions that can be thrown back at our face by Hatters fans over the bank holiday weekend. Right, Wayne, I'm going to start with you. I want a prediction for the day. I want a score for the day, and how confident you are in your words.
Well, I'm not as confident in my words as I was with the Bradford game, so my vision is a bit cloudier this week. One reason for that is Stockport's form was, I think they're hard to predict. I don't know what Stockport is going to turn up on the day, but I felt with Bradford, you can predict, they don't concede many and they don't score many, but they just usually, often get a win. Stockport losing to Port Vale. What was the other loss that they had in the last 6 games? They had another strange loss, didn't they?
I wouldn't say Exeter, but I might be wrong.
No,
they drew. They
drew 3-3 with Exeter.
Ah, right.
And there was another loss as well, which I can't quite remember. And
I could do live research whilst we're doing this one. You're fine.
Right. Okay. I'll carry on. Okay. So, yeah. But they're coming into this with similar form to us, 2 clean sheets. And so it's going to be a tight game for me. However,
I'm not doing this fast research, am I?
Wayne, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Whose performances were better? Because I've actually looked, sorry, just to put in.
It's Mansfield, by the way. It was Mansfield.
Mansfield.
Thank you.
It was.
I think it's like the EFL fantasy team have put more of Stockport's players in.
I've seen that.
Than ours. Do you believe that Stockport's performances against Stevenage were better than ours against Bradford?
I was quite surprised to see that. And you know what? If we switched opponents, if we had Stevenage and they had Bradford, then I feel as though we could have done as good a job against Steve.
I think it'd be a Bradford Bolton final if that were the case.
Yes, I do as well.
It's a good point. Yeah. Anyway, back to me prediction. It's going to be tight. What's my crystal ball say? It's going to be a win for the resilient Wanderers. 1-0. And it's going to be whoever starts as the striker, Dalby or Burstow.
There's a performative value now about your predictions, Wade.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
it's starting to become a bit of a thing, isn't it? Really,
you need a wizard hat for next week.
That's it. Yeah, sorting hat of some description. Tom, same question. Probably less messing around on Soccer Base trying to find out what happened last week.
Yeah. So look, mine's straightforward. I think we're going to win 3-0. I don't think this side concedes. I actually think that Dubry and Sissoko have an absolute blinder. I really do. And not just because it's sunny, Sissoko. Not just because I think you're a good player. But no, I think 3-0. I think we've talked about the worry that we have on their pace. We have to think that they're playing a centre forward at centre half, potentially. Mm-hmm. Why not think of how dangerous it could be for Sam Dolby to knock on to two wingers flying at them, who, let's be honest, are both flying in confidence. So 3-0 Wanderers. And if it's not, I won't be, my phone will be off for a few days.
Absolutely. Well, this is the thing. You guys can hide away, turn your phones off. I've still got to write the crap anyway. It's, God, it's like a 3-week funeral. Will, bring it home.
I'm with Wayne. I'm going
1-0 as well. Oh, what?
No, it was Tom that was 3-0. I'm going 1-0. I think the game's going to be a continuation of the two Bradford fixtures, where it's going to be really cagey, really tight, and it's going to be won by a moment of quality or a set piece or a penalty.
St. John's ambulance near the press box, please.
I think it'll be a really cagey affair where both teams are going to test each other out very early on. And I do, as I've mentioned it a couple of times, I do think the environment and the temperature is going to play a massive part in it. And I think that moment of quality will get us over the line. I don't know who it's going to be. I can't predict that one, but I think it's a moment of quality. Wayne will go with that one. I think over the first leg in Bradford, it was a moment of quality. And I thought the moment of quality came in the second leg with Simmons. And I think people have really underestimated how much of a decent finish that was from Simmons.
Brilliant,
because they normally go up in the top, over the bar. And also people need to remember what an amazing ball it was from McAtee to set us away.
Who, by the way,
he will play a part.
He's
going to play a part.
He could. Yeah.
I think he gets a moment, Macca.
So do I. Yep.
That would sum Bolton's season up pretty perfectly, really. If John McAtee, the player we were writing off at the very, very beginning of the season, were to win the spoils. Wow. So 3 wins. Everybody is confident. I want you to bottle this thought. I want you to remember this thought on Monday morning and remember how nice it was for just a few days. We could all live in harmony, peace and harmony. Oh dear. Right, gents, thank you very much once again for joining us on Team Talk. We will actually, if Bolton lose, I'm just going to dump the whole channel. I can't be bothered. To be true,
I'm off.
That's I'm off. See you later. I'm out. I'm not going back to
put my tin hat on for all the Stockport fans that are after me.
Yeah, I'm not going back to Burton. Nope. No, not really. I'll be back. I'm condemned to stay here forever, aren't I? Basically. Yes, but thank you very much, gents. Enjoy your day. Don't get sunburned. Wear a hat and come back with a dub. See you later.